Who run the world? As Beyonce says, girls. And we have an amazing lineup of dynamic ladies who use their voice and platform to change the world. Hey, what's up? I'm Nessa, and welcome to Talk Stoop. You've heard the expression, behind every great man is a great woman. Well, the women I caught up with on today's show are people you definitely want in your corner. First up, Gloria Allred. She's made it her lifelong journey to advocate for women's rights. Fight, fight, fight! You see who I'm next to? Gloria Allred. I am so happy to be sitting here. We were talking about your amazing documentary, Seeing Allred on Netflix.
I'm so proud of all of the women who have had the courage to speak out. Rich, famous, powerful men have to understand there are rules, there are boundaries. They must respect those boundaries. This has got to end, and it needs to end right now. This is very exciting because it shows also people who are fighting to win change, because no one gives us our rights. We always have to fight to win it. And most people don't realize how much strength and courage they have within them to win justice.
I love when you were talking in the documentary, because for so many people, they don't understand why women are doing press conferences. But I think when the discussion came up, hey, hear their narrative, hear what they've gone through.
That's right. And also that it's not only the rich, the powerful, and the famous who should be able to have a voice. It's also people who have been victimized by people who are rich, powerful, and famous. The person who you ordinarily wouldn't hear from, you wouldn't know their name, and who will ordinarily be denied their rights and suffer in silence.
And for those who will choose not to believe that I am speaking the truth of what happened to me, please know that I wish it were not true.
You give so many people strength, people that you defend, that you're standing up for. Who gives you strength?
I am inspired by my clients every day, because they're doing what Gandhi says, which is be the change you wish to see in the world.
Right.
And this year at the Women's March, the slogan of the Women's March was, "You are the leaders you have been waiting for." And when victims are transformed, when they become empowered, they're making a difference not only for themselves, but also for people in their family that see them as role models, for people in their community, for people in their workplaces. And this is making a difference for them individually and for those around them.
God, it's so great talking to you. I feel like I'm gonna go run the world now, just having this conversation.
Fired up.
Let's
Ready
go.
to go, right.
Now, you've been through so much in your career, lots of highs and a couple setbacks. What would you say was the highest point of your career?
It's actually every day, because my most important case is my last case, my present case, and my next case. I mean, I have a high point every day because I'm excited to help people have access to justice and to assert their rights and to vindicate their rights in courts of law, in the legislatures, in the streets, wherever and whenever we have the opportunity to do so. We talk about the Me Too movement. We've been doing this for 42 years.
Do you feel that credit should be owed to you for the Me Too and Time's Up movement?
I'm not seeking credit, I am seeking change. And I think credit goes to all of those brave people who are willing to fight for that change. Women are now empowered, and they will never be silent again.
While I was watching a documentary, I was just loving how you would get back at people, but very classy, but very firm, and you're just not scared to back down.
No,
at all.
She's trying to turn women into men.
I think secretly you envy women and you fear them.
In your book, Fight Back and Win, you talk about how women, we can empower ourselves, we can win the battles that we're going through.
Yes, we can.
What would you say we can start doing right now? 3 things, simple things that we can begin to do to empower ourselves.
If you feel that you have been the victim of injustice, I would say you could consult an attorney. There are many attorneys who will give you a legal consultation at no charge. And then you can have knowledge of what rights you have, whether it's worthwhile to exercise your rights or not. Knowledge is power. The second thing I would say is reach out for support. For example, if you're a battered woman, make sure you're not isolated. There are those who will support you, battered women's shelters, rape crisis centers, if you're a rape victim. There are so many people who will support you. And I would say, finally, just get help and don't be paralyzed into doing nothing. My slogan that I love, which is from the famous labor organizer Mother Jones, is pray for the dead and fight like hell for the living.
I love you so much, Gloria. I could talk to you all day.
Love you back.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And you know what? We're going to keep the fight. We're going to keep going. And we're never going to back down.
That's right. That's the way. You know, we shall overcome.
Up next, Maria Shriver.
Talk Stoop is sponsored in part by The One by Frederick Fekkai. The One combines an exclusive marine complex and is sulfate and paraben free, exclusively at Ulta Beauty stores.
Welcome back. It was such a pleasure connecting with Maria Shriver. She's the former First Lady of California, an award-winning journalist, and an advocate for women's health. She stopped by the Stoop to share her positive vibes. I'm so happy for your new book, which is #1. Congratulations already.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
And I've been thinking, and I love that you're talking about, reflections, prayers, and meditations, because we all want a meaningful life.
Exactly, and we can all have one.
Yes.
And I think we can have it and still be successful. I think we can have it and still be in the workplace. So having a meaningful life it requires strength, internal strength, mental strength, physical strength, emotional strength, spiritual strength. And so I hope this will be a bit of an oasis for people. I hope people your age, my age, will know that the sanctuary that you seek is actually already within you, and that all of this is just a passing thing, and that what you really need are your friends, your family, your faith, and your internal fortitude.
At what point did you know you had to step back, when you're just saying, I gotta step back and really breathe and balance my life?
I think when I was older, actually. I think I had 4 kids really close together. Then I became First Lady of California, had a lot going on. And I think, when you lose your parents, you become somewhat unmoored because you're no longer identifying as the kid, as the caregiver, and you're like, this is the big leagues now. I got to step up. I think if you're doing that, you need tools. You need support. You need a community. And you need to kind of dig in and go in and see what you're made of and see what your future is going to look like, because you have to create it.
Who was there for you the most when you were taking your step back and trying to figure out, okay, where do I go from here?
Well, my mother was always there for me at different times. When I was in my 20s, I stepped back. I got an anchoring job with the CBS Morning News. I was newly engaged. I lived on the West Coast. I moved to the East Coast. She stepped in and said, life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Do your thing now. It's going to be okay. When I had my first child, I was anchoring 2 network news jobs on the East Coast. I lived on the West Coast. And I had to go in and quit because I couldn't keep doing that. And I thought my life was over. I would never work again. And she again stepped in and said, it's going to be okay. You're smart. You'll survive. You just got to work harder, as she would say. But I think when she died, I did struggle to find who was going to fill her place. And of course, nobody ever fills your mother's place if you have a strong connection. And so I still kind of talked to her, but then I pulled on my girlfriends, I pulled on my brothers, I pulled on my cousins, I pulled on other friends, I made new friends.
Were you worried that people were going to judge you for reaching out?
Oh, I think people do judge you. I think, as I said to my daughter, people will say 2 things when you walk in the room. Both could be true, but you have to decide which one you're going to go, what your story is. So I think we see on social media, your generation is inundated with people judging you, judging the clothes you're wearing, the makeup you're doing, everything. And so you can either go and listen to them, you can either focus on who liking your boyfriend's pictures, or you can look in the mirror and say, look at me. I'm smart, I'm hot, I've got a good guy, and my future is mine to create. And so, there will always be people who who does she think she is?
And I love it on your Twitter when you do clap back at people who are,
clap back.
Clap back.
I like that.
And I
clap
love
back.
it.
I'm going to use that.
Clap back, yes.
Clap back. Is that a thing?
Yes. And you have great friends, Oprah, Deepak. How does this even happen? I'm trying to get friends like that. Help me out.
Well, I got Oprah as a friend when she wasn't Oprah.
That's the key.
We connected over our shared weight struggle and our shared interest in the news business. We both worked in a local station, and most of my friendships were from my work in the news business, where I met kind of people I would never have met in my kind of family life.
You and Hoda are so cute,
Yeah.
and you're the baby whisperer.
Oh, that's what she said, yeah. I really like that title. I think that's a really great title. I love that, and she has been so supportive. She's one of the great all-time women.
Thank you so much
Thank you for
hanging
having
out.
me.
Of course, and
Yes.
this is amazing. It's such a great book because, you know, self-help is real, but it's just also forgiving yourself.
Yes.
And it's okay to ask for help.
Right, amen.
And I thank you for this because so
Thank
many
you.
of us need it. Thank you.
It matches your pants.
Hey. So, Maria, am I now in your friend circle? I mean, I hope so. And make sure you stick around. Elizabeth Smart and her inspiring story is next.
Accommodations for Talk Stoop are furnished by 135 West 52nd. These exclusive private condominiums feature 1 to 4 bedroom residences, duplexes, and triplex penthouses. Luxurious finishes and amenities await in this 12,000 square foot private lounge, ideal for relaxing and entertaining alike. Recharge in the 75-foot long custom mosaic tiled pool. This is elevated living at its finest. Available for immediate occupancy. To learn more, visit 135west52nd.com.
Nearly 16 years ago, Elizabeth Smart went through a terrifying ordeal. Now she's helping others overcome trauma, find their strength, and reclaim their lives. You know what, Elizabeth? I was just saying how beautiful your picture is on your new book, Where There's Hope. Now, tell me a little bit about this, because this is the follow-up to your memoir.
Well, it's more than the follow-up, because once I wrote my story, I kind of said, that's it. Like, no more books. I've done it. Been there, done that. Check that off the list. I was still am very heavily involved in advocacy, in speaking out, in sharing my story, especially with other survivors and victims. And as I was doing that, I'd hold a lot of Q&As. And the questions that I was getting were questions that were more, how do you deal with anger? Have you forgiven your captors? Where do you find hope? How have you maintained your faith? There were these broader questions, and I kept getting asked them over and over again. And so then I thought, well, if I ever wrote another book, I think I'd try to answer those questions.
The one thing I really wanted to know is, how are you able to keep hope while being captured?
It was hard. And there were times that I felt like I had lost my hope. But then I'd always come back to remembering my family, remembering what was really important to me.
How were you able to keep it together?
It was a miracle. I mean, I've always had a faith in God, and that certainly was a big part of my survival. I mean, my parents from a very early age, they said, it doesn't matter what people say, you'll know them by their actions. You'll know if they're a good person by what they do. And so despite what my captors were telling me every day, all day, they were hurting me. They were hurting my family. They were hurting basically every other person they came into contact with. And I could see that. I knew that firsthand. And so it was very clear to me that they were not good people. And that's kind of how I was able to maintain my faith, stay grounded, and do what I had to survive.
And you talk about forgiveness, which seems impossible when someone goes through such a horrific tragedy like this. How did you do it?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of ideas of what forgiveness is. I think we think forgiveness is to make the other person feel better. Forgiveness is an acceptance of the actions that have been done against you or that you've done against somebody else. I don't think forgiveness is like accepting rape or accepting abuse, saying that that's okay, because rape will never be okay. Abuse will never be okay. Forgiveness, and we also think of it's to make the other person feel better. Well, my captors, they don't care. It's not gonna make a difference to them if I forgive them or not. It's not gonna change how they feel. But it does change how I feel. Because if I stay angry at them, if I stay mad over what's happened to me, that's anger that I'm gonna be carrying with me every day. And I mean, I'm a busy woman. I've got 2 kids. That the toughest job,
Yeah.
the most draining job I've ever had. I don't have extra emotion to waste being angry on something that happened 15 years ago. Yeah. So I feel like forgiveness, it's for me. It's all for me. It's, I think, the greatest form of self-love you can give yourself.
Did you ever imagine this for yourself?
I always wanted a family. I always wanted to get married. I always wanted to have kids. And so, yeah, it's always been part of my dream.
And it happened.
And it happened.
This is so nice. I'm so happy for you. And just to see you smiling right now, this is everything. Congratulations on all of your success. And more importantly, your happiness.
Thank you so much.
Of course. I feel so empowered right now by Elizabeth Smart. She is so sweet. Now, fans of The Blacklist can't get enough of Megan Boone. On the show, she's a tough FBI agent, and off camera, she's a busy mom and an advocate for Mother Earth.
We are in New York City.
Right.
This is a set, right?
Yeah, this
there
is a
are
stoop.
a million stoops out there.
Yes.
We should just go outside.
It looks a little cold.
It's a little cold. Actually, I want to keep my dress on.
Yeah. I love this color.
Thank you.
I haven't stopped staring at it and complimenting it. Do you think I'm a creep now? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty.
I just learned what it's called. Do you know?
No.
It's called chartreuse. Isn't that a nice name?
That is.
Yeah.
Wait, say it again, chartreuse?
Chartreuse.
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 Here, you say it with a little bit more. Chartreuse.
That's what that word feels like. This is a chartreuse 1960s office attire.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, thank you.
I love it. The Blacklist.
The Blacklist.
And I smelled you out the minute you walked in my door.
Okay, so playing an FBI agent, does that carry over when you go home, where you're just like over-analyzing everything?
You mean do I get home and say,
What
freeze, FBI? No.
No, not at all.
I drop it all. It's a separate world. I've been doing this 5 years now. We're on season 5 of The Blacklist. I've settled in. I know how to go to work and be Liz without much effort. It's just like sediment.
That's why I froze broken glass into those ice cubes you love to chew. So now every time you breathe, you're inhaling those little shards deeper into your throat and lungs.
I feel like you could do some really good snooping around, though.
Like what?
Like
Let's make a plan.
Like if you wanted to, let's see, maybe I could find a way to watch my boyfriend at all times. I feel like you would help me at this point.
Oh, you mean like ultimate paranoia?
You like, yes.
Okay.
And go through Instagram and just see who's liking it. Okay, have they liked it too many times? Have they been on the profile?
I have to say that never really worked for me.
Oh. I don't think it works for anybody.
That was never really something that worked out well for me. I'm not a detective on the show, you know. I'm a law enforcement officer.
Call me sweetheart again.
And she's also just in a world that's just like always throwing her for a loop.
It's always some type of
My
chaos.
personal life is much less chaotic. I don't have to deal with the same circumstances as The Blacklist.
What would you say is the most chaotic, I guess, experience that you go through in your personal life?
I mean, I have a 2-year-old.
There's chaos. I would say so.
Yeah.
And you also are very involved when it comes to climate change.
That's actually my issue, mainly, yeah. I think this is the issue of our time. If we can't curtail greenhouse gas emissions and CO2 in the atmosphere, then we're going to see a real upset for civilization as we know it. I mean, people are really suffering as a result of human activity, so it's important for each individual to make, you know, personal choices that they believe in and that are compassionate.
Okay, so before you go, I just want to play a quick fire round of questions with you, just really fast. What's your favorite place on Earth?
I'm not going to say what state it's in, but my mother has a little bit of land up against some state property that's like completely quiet. There's nobody around, and I love it there. It's so peaceful.
What do you think about when you're alone in the car?
I don't have a car.
Oh my gosh.
You mean the subway though?
Yes, subway will do when everyone's breathing down your neck and...
Yeah, I usually people watch. I really like, it's probably a response to somebody I'm like kind of checking out and what's his deal? What's her story, you know? I'm always interested in the other people around me.
Okay, and what is on your bucket list?
Making a will. Sorry, that's dark.
Yes.
I'd love to be on Broadway one day.
Oh.
Yeah. That's a big thing.
Well, thank you so much, Megan, for hanging out on the Stoop.
Thanks.
I'll catch you on the subway. From reality star to budding business mogul, Lo Bosworth is stopping by and hanging out with us after the break. Welcome back to Talk Stoop. Now, we got to know and love Lo Bosworth from the hit shows Laguna Beach and The Hills, but she's come a long way since then. Lo, I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks for having me, Nessa. Hi.
Of course, hi. So now this episode is all about change makers, and we've watched you grow from reality TV to now becoming your own marvelous businesswoman.
To be on the Stoop, I love it.
How has the journey been?
The transition has been really surprising, honestly. So I was first on television when I was still in high school, and I'll be 32 this year, so it's really just been such a transformation for me in terms of where I started to where I'm at now. And I have my podcast, Lady Lovin'. I have my own women's wellness business, Love Wellness, which I run full time, and to work with great brands like Frederick Fekkai, which we're here. We're like on the Stoop today.
And I want to take all the products home with me right now.
Aren't they beautiful?
They are.
So glam, right?
Yes. Okay, so Lo, what made you want to join forces with such a legendary brand, Frederick Fekkai?
It was my favorite salon brand as a kid. It was the first one that I was introduced to. And I'm a product queen. You should see my bathroom. Products. So when they reached out and wanted to partner with me this year, it was like dream come true. This is the best brand ever. This is legendary, iconic. I jumped at the opportunity, obviously. And the ingredients I'm so excited about. There's Norwegian sea extract in every product across the line, which is amazing. Everything is inspired by the ocean. I grew up next to the sea, so I'm in love. And everything is sulfate-free and paraben-free, so great for the hair.
It smells so good.
Have you smelled?
Yeah,
Have you tested?
I actually did use the Ultimate one and the Tamed one. They were fabulous.
Yeah, right?
And where can you buy Frederick Fekkai products?
Everything from the One collection is available at Ulta Beauty.
Oh my gosh, this is great.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to go in there and just buy everything, get all the products for my hair. I need to step my hair game up.
Yes.
What do you have in your hair right now? Because your color is very vibrant.
Oh, thank you.
Fabulous right now.
So for color treated hair, I love the Brilliant one. They have a great shampoo, conditioner, and mask. And I like to face mask and hair mask at the same time, give myself like an at-home spa treatment once or twice a week. There's no sulfates in it, and so it really is so great for keeping your color luminous and bright. I love it.
What's your daily routine like?
I love the Gifted One multitasker, and I put it into damp hair, and it's perfect when you heat style it. It makes it really glossy and hold the style really well. And then when my hair is dry, because I have sort of thin hair, so I need a little help, so I love to use the dry texturizing spray. You just a couple spritzes into the end, kind of smoosh it up a little bit, and then you have amazing volume and texture throughout the day.
Oh, that's really quick.
I am loving those two products.
Okay, so talk to me. Are there any new products coming from Frederick Fekkai that you're so excited about?
Yes, glad you asked. So the Uplifting One Volumizing Shampoo and the Uplifting One Volumizing Conditioner are coming out soon.
Lo, thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with us on the Stoop.
Of course, so excited, thank you.
I have learned so much from these dynamic ladies. I hope you have too. My takeaway, find your passion and don't stop pursuing it. Whether it's fighting for social justice, the environment, or women's rights, go hard and don't give up. That's all for now, and don't forget to keep the conversation going on all our socials at Talk Stoop. I'll see you next week.